Welcome back, Truth Seeker. The thumbnail for today's video is up on the screen. Waking up to the war games. And I recently saw somebody making fun of my work, and it was funny. It was funny listening to them make fun of the work because, again, knowledge is power, and if you don't have it, you might be ignorant. But what the person was saying is, they're saying, have you ever seen those TV shows where they show the wackadoodle conspiracy theorists that have a red thread connecting all these events and they're just crazy people? It's like, yeah, I have seen those. I have seen those. That's called programming. And it's also putting the truth in front of your face and teaching you to think that it's nonsensical, it's idiotic, it's for wackadoodles. And people don't even know what they're looking at. Look into where that idea of the red thread connecting events comes from. A lot of people have no clue. They've just seen it in movies where they're making fun of conspiracy theorists, and they have no idea where the idea of the red thread comes from. There's a reason people like Carl Tuckerson and others that are on the world stage wear red threads around their wrist. It's a Kabbalistic practice. In Kabbalah, there's an idea that the red thread of life connects all events. So that's why they do this in the movies or the TV shows. You know, they mock you with the red thread and the lunatic. In reality, there are lunatics in high places that practice Kabbalah that do connect world events. And they do it right in front of people's faces, but people don't know what to look for. So they overlook what's going on. And it might sound crazy to say that the bomb cyclone that just terrorized the Pacific Northwest came from the same cabal of people that are behind what's going on in Russia, Ukraine, and what's going on with Israel and the war that started against Hamas and now has expanded to the region that Netanyahu just went up to the United Nations and showed as the curse. He's fighting the curse. Again, you got to learn more about this Kabbalah thing. It answers a lot of questions. Like, I had the question for years. Why did they pull off a numerological ritual on us on September 11th, 2001, and blame it on a man in a cave in what was the most obvious lie of all time, if you had eyes to see? Why did two towers become zero before they became one? Why is it that the Jesuit motto is both into one? Why is it that the first Jesuit pope, Pope Francis, is the first pope to live in Suite 201 at the Vatican? Why is there a long history of 201 with the Jesuits? Does 201 pertain to the three images on the screen, these three things related to war? And some people are like, how does a bomb cyclone relate to war? Hey, just listen to the terminology. And see, this is the problem of living in a land of ignorant people. They don't even know what their own government's been up to in the United States. Look into the nearly 50 years of bomb testing, blowing up big bombs high up in the atmosphere and also below ground next to fault lines. What were they trying to test after all? Again, just so you know, with regards to 201, let's not forget the war between Russia and Ukraine. It happened right after Biden and Putin met, exactly 201 days after the first Jesuit Ignatian year ever began, to celebrate the 500th anniversary of Ignatius of Loyola beginning his journey to create the Jesuits. Again, that began May 20th, 2021. Biden and Putin met on Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, 2021, which was 201 days later. The war began in a big 201 ritual officially on February 24th of 2022. That's the anniversary of the Jesuit order implementing the Gregorian calendar that's named after a pope, Pope Gregorius. And it's also the anniversary of the Franciscans being established. And if you don't know about the Franciscans, they were the precursor to the Jesuits. And that's why Pope Francis is named after St. Francis of Assisi, who created the Franciscans. But then also you have the war in Israel and again, that began in a massive 201 ritual synced up with the return of Netanyahu, who returned to power in a 201 ritual after leaving Israel on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. And then, lo and behold, a little more than a half year into the war, on the 201st day of the war, the U.S. sent $95 billion to Israel and Ukraine. And again, I mean, you look into it, where that war's going on between Russia and Ukraine, what was once all part of the Soviet Union, you look into it, that is where Ashkenazi Jews come from. The ones that now live in Israel. That's ancient Khazaria, where the war's going on. And I mean, you just gotta say, like, can all these things really be a coincidence? So where the historical origins of these people are, a war's going on. They've been moved to the Middle East because of what happened during the world wars, which were clearly by the numbers. See, that's the thing that gets annoying about the common people, if you will. The people who just allow the TV to do their thinking for them, and what they learned in their slave school textbook. They will instantly bark out things like, oh, numbers, numerology, that's stupid. But it's like, don't you remember being a kid and probably not asking questions? If you didn't have me in your classroom, you probably weren't getting any questions. I remember being the only kid asking questions all throughout school. I'd be like, how come everybody else just lets this stuff pass without questioning it? Wait a minute, teacher. Did you just say that Adolf Hitler committed suicide, but his body was never found? Wait a minute. How do you know that happened then? Oh, well, didn't you read here on page 88 that that's what it said? You just remember that. It's right there in the book. Of course, that's what happened. Didn't you just read the book? We're going to take a test on that later. Just remember to circle that, and you'll get an A on the test. You know? Or, excuse me, did you just say that World War I ended on 11/11 at 11 a.m.? That is a lot of ones for World War I. How did the war end across this massive battlefield at 11 a.m. anyway? Was there some intercom stationed all across Europe and Africa and into parts of Asia? Was there a massive intercom system like we have here in the school when the principal calls out, Mr. Hubbard, that's enough questions, come to the office? And that's how it was. That's what I also learned growing up. You ask too many questions, you might get in trouble. The authorities might not like it. Stop with all the questions. Just remember what it says on that page of the book and circle it on the test. But yeah, I mean, just numerology. It's obvious that it's been implemented by the historians, if you will, and it's been put in front of our face for all of our life. Again, 9/11 on the 11th of the month in the 11th state, New York, 11 years to the day of Papa Bush's speech about a new world order, a world free of terror. His son's the president, and flight AA-11 crashes into the towers that look like an 11 to get it popping. 11's the master number in numerology. It started a war that lasted longer than World War I that ended at 11/11 at 11 a.m. But yeah, you have these people then, they're I think the guy who was making fun of my video is like, have you seen the episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where the crazy guys got like all this stuff up on a board that has nothing to do with each other connected with red threads? Like, yeah, that's again called programming. Do a little research on where the red thread, where it fits in with Kabbalah, and then do a little more research and read about Kabbalah's text, the Book of Formation, where in the first paragraph it says God created the world with numbers, letters, and words. How Jewish community, a section of it, studies this idea of letters, numbers, and words, especially in relation to the Holy Bible, namely the first 5 books of Moses, the Torah. Again, and then look into what I'm talking about. How, just like how in Hebrew, the letters have been numbered, just like how in ancient Greek, the letters have been numbered, the biblical languages, no doubt English, the letters have been numbered. Because how else could it be that the Jesuit order equates to 201, Ignatius of Loyola, who's the founder of the order, equals 201, the first Jesuit pope, the first to live in Suite 201, Pope Francis, his birth name Jorge Mario Bergoglio equals 201. And then again, look into the Jesuits being from France, and the last French pope being the 201st. Look into the name of Pope Francis' apartment, Domus Sanctae Marte, adds up to 201. Donbass region, for example, where the war began between Russia and Ukraine, Donbass region, 201. And again, Biden and Putin did meet 201 days after the first ever Jesuitic nation year began. Look into Netanyahu, again, leaving as the leader of the state of Israel on June 13th, the day leaving 201 days left in the year. State of Israel equates to 201, like the Holy Bible equates to 201, where that beginning story is so focused on Israel, the chosen people, you know? Look into Netanyahu coming back on December 29th, 1229. 1229 is the 201st prime. That was Albert Pike's birthday, the man who wrote a letter about 3 world wars and where the 3rd World War would be centered on political Zionism. And what day did he publish that letter? August 15th, 1871. That's the Jesuit order's birthday. He addressed it to Mazzini, the second leader of the Illuminati founded by the Jesuit Adam Weishaupt. And remember, Order of Illuminati equates to 201. And Adam Weishaupt died in history 201 days after the anniversary of the Illuminati's establishment. Just like David Ben-Gurion, the first prime minister of Israel, died 201 days after the anniversary of Israel's establishment. Again, it's not just about letters and numbers and words. It's a big part of it. But it's also these recurring dates and patterns. And I mean, let's also not forget that the war on germs was simulated with Event 201. But we're going to get to what just happened in Seattle, where one of the biggest 201 agents in the world resides, Billy Goat Gates. But we're going to talk about the storm that just smashed Seattle on the 19th, the only city in America that equals 19. And the 201 ritual with that. And remember, the phrase weather control equates to 201. And the first act of weather warfare in the world was admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday, August 15th, 1952. And again, Lyndon Johnson, 201 days after JFK died. Lyndon Johnson was at Holy Cross, a Jesuit university, and he said, who controls the weather controls the world. Now, it has been pointed out to me, and it is true that Lyndon Johnson actually made that phrase even before then, but he did say it again at Jesuit Holy Cross 201 days after JFK died. And it matters because JFK gave a speech about the future of weather control on September 25th, 1961 at the United Nations. Again, the Jesuits, what is their logo? It's a sun with 32 sun rays around the outside with 3 nails for triclavianism, the form of Roman capital punishment. And for the record, triclavianism equates to 201. Capital punishment also equates to 201. That's another big topic to get into. But in that logo, right in the middle, there's the letters IHS for Jesus Hominum Salvator, but right above that is the Templar cross. And again, the Templars are the original bankers. Bankers benefit from these wars. And again, for anyone who doesn't know the answer to how that is, look at how central banks, anytime there's a disaster, could be war related, could be weather related, could be germ related. Anytime there's a disaster, these governments need money to fight the problem, and they go to the central bankers and they get a loan. And we all know when you get a loan, those bankers who can afford to grant the loan, they make a lot in profit. Like right now, you might want to go buy a house, $300,000 house. Your mortgage rate right now is probably close to 7%. Look at how much you're going to end up paying to the bankers over the life of that 30-year mortgage. You're going to end up paying nearly double what the sticker price is on the house. They're going to make a lot of money on that loan over 30 years. And when you're so wealthy that you can be granting loans all over the place, you don't have to do anything. You just got to sit back like this. You grant the loan, and then you collect the big profit each month from all the little loans you put out all over. So imagine you're so rich, you can also buy militaries. You can buy nations and governments. You can control those nations and governments and their policies. You can implement wars all over because war is the way you make the biggest profit, you know? Here, you can grant out some dinky loans for some student loans and stuff. That makes some money too, but man, you start a war just brings it in. Boom, overnight. And then you just look at all the little shenanigans that we document. The dolly just makes a sharp turn, takes out a bridge. Oh, what was that? Another 8 billion. I forget how much they asked for. Didn't Biden ask for like 8 billion after that? I don't think he got the full loan because he wanted to rebuild the whole port there, but billions of dollars it ended up costing the taxpayer. That made more profit for the banker tyrants. Because again, anytime that there's a problem in the nation, we go to the central bankers to get the money, and then the taxpayers pay with interest. It's the way the game works. And that's why there's all these problems being instigated all the time that just don't need to happen. Imagine if people figured this out, that this was going on, and they stopped it. Do you think the quality of life for the world would rise if that happened? Of course it would. Of course it would. Instead of dedicating all your blood, sweat, and tears to this taxes to this tyrannical government that gets spent on resolving problems that never needed to happen in the first place, just imagine how much better it could be. First of all, you wouldn't have to be taxed to death. By the way, I can't figure out what's going on. I got to look into it. But I just noticed that recently in Washington State, if you buy tea, there's taxes on it. Normally you buy grocery food, there's no taxes on it. I'm like, when did Washington State implement a tea tax? Is this some kind of sick joke? Are they trying to recreate the Boston Tea Party? I'm telling you, if you're in Washington State, go buy some tea. Just buy tea alone and watch. There's tax on it. I'm like, wait a minute, we're paying taxes on tea now? That's going on out here in Washington State. I've now bought tea at multiple stores, and there's a little tax on the boxes of tea I'm buying them. I'm thinking, when did this start? I just noticed this very recently. I was like, what in the world? I've been buying tea for a sweet lady to stimulate breast milk and all this, and I normally get tea. I just went and bought some chamomile tea. Tax? I was like, what? I got to look into it because I've been asking those. I'm like, why is there tax on that? Nobody has the answer. I'm like, this got to be some kind of joke. Taxes on tea. But yeah, we are taxed to death on everything. And now even here in Washington State, like I just said, we got even taxes on tea now. But yeah, again, these things are not unrelated. These things are all connected. And the problem is we live in this world where people get information that goes contrary to their programming, and their mind, some switch instantly flicks on that they had to be like, oh, that's stupid. Oh, you reminded me of this dumb character in this TV show who thought everything was a conspiracy. It's like, dude, I should be reminding you of that you have a brain and you should look into things because you don't know everything there is to know. And there are people that rule over us, and that should be obvious. And there should be corruption. It should be obvious to you that there's corruption in government. And it should be obvious to you that there is something about how many needless wars are constantly happening in this world. You know? So yeah, I mean, if you're new here and this is the first time you ever came across my channel, this 201 thing is something I've been harping on about for a long time. And the last book I put out in the middle of 2020 was largely focused on the Event 201 simulation and what was to come with the scandemic that it simulated. And if you haven't read that book, I mean, I rushed that 400-page book out to get the information out there. I mean, had everybody read that book, the world might be a lot different place. Because not only did I exactly nail when they would end their scandemic as soon as the year of the tiger came around. Remember, Jewish gematria, tiger equates to 201. And for the record, I forgot to mention that Jewish mysticism equates to 201 as well. That this special number to the Jesuits, who were a Catholic Jewish alliance that came about in the 16th century in response to the Protestant Reformation. Again, the Jesuits were created 201 months after Martin Luther penned the 95 Theses. And that's why you'll see the 201 and 95 come together all the time. Like how Event 201, the pandemic simulation, was the same day the military world games began in Wuhan, China, which started in Italy in 95 with sponsorship from the Jesuits. It's why we gave $95 billion on the 201st day of the war in Israel. It's why Martin Luther King Jr. got smoked on the 95th day of the year in tribute to the Martin Luther who penned the 95 Theses, but then the nation's first major gun control legislation came 201 days later, and on and on and on. The Jesuits were created to counter the 95 Theses. The Jesuit Order, 201. There's a reason that they put numbers together. They're constantly paying tribute to history, Kabbalistic practices, things most people have no idea about. And then sadly, because, you just see what happens to a human being. If they go through 13 years of slave school, pledging to 13 stripes, where they're manufactured to be debt slaves with 13s all over the dollar bill, if they don't get any education about this, by the time they're done with their indoctrination, what they did get was some sort of programming that anything numerological or number related is stupid and pseudoscience and old world and outdated. Somehow they don't observe all these numerological rituals happening around them, including their 13 years of indoctrination, and they think everything they learned about in slave school is all that matters. You hear these arguments come out of people's mouths all the time. I mean, my sister's on the record saying it too. She's saying, if this was important, Zach, they would have taught us about it in school. Not if you were raised to be a debt slave and they want you in a certain level of ignorance where you just submit to agendas and you give Caesar what's his, right? You believe in their little textbook that they say came from God, written by man. You watch all the tyrants swear in on it. Again, you just see how people are under all these levels of indoctrination and they can't see through the obvious. Some of us were born to see through it. And anyhow, I wanted to just start with that. 3 big events in the news right now, right? And I mean, they've been in the news, but just all right now, just this massive bomb cyclone. And we're going to get to the 201 and what they did with this. I told you to watch out for major rituals with weather and possibly the ground quaking in the time of the Scorpio, the Scorpion King, synced up with the Rock, who they keep syncing up weather warfare acts with, including the burning down of Maui. Again, Maui is who the Rock is in Moana. Maui, the fire god, and then Maui burned up right after he debuted the trailer of the live-action Moana. And then, of course, he's in the movie San Andreas about the crazy quake, and he's the Scorpion King. Right here at the end of Scorpio, 201 days from the Rock's birthday, is when this bomb cyclone went off that caused a lot of devastation to parts of the West Coast. And if you guys noticed, power was out through the whole West Coast 201 days after the Rock's birthday. And remember, What You Gonna Do When the Grid Goes Down by Public Enemy, they put out that album on the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech. And again, if you weren't here, I mean, the day that album came out, we pointed out how it was pointing to Valentine's Day, the following Valentine's Day. And we said, watch out on Valentine's Day. I suspect we're going to see some crazy weather warfare stuff and some power grids down. And that's exactly what happened. Crazy weather in Texas. They got the worst of it. Houston was frozen over. And Beyonce from Houston, she put out the Icy Park clothing line. And please don't be the next person in my comments go, it wasn't called Icy Park. It was called Ivy Park. Stop. I'm so tired of how every time I point that out, some just lemming says the same thing in the comments every time. No lemming, look it up. She put out the Icy Park line of clothing, which was part of her Ivy Park line right as that storm happened. And don't forget that J.J. Watt and Deshaun Watt's son asked to be traded from Houston that same week, like Watts or Power, as the power went down. Again, we called all this the day that album came out, which was September 25th, months before that, February 14th. But again, Texas got the worst of it. Atlanta got a bad storm. They were without power. My hometown, Portland, got a bad storm. They were without power for over a week. Again, a good way to take down the grid is through what looks like Mother Nature. And another good way is to use your CIA puppet states and say the hackers came from there. 2 of the biggest CIA puppet states in the world are North Korea and Iran. And again, we never gave those territories back after the wars and the CIA interventions that we were part of. In the beginning of the 50s, the CIA overthrew Iran. Look it up. That's not some conspiracy theory. That's a fact. The CIA's overthrow of Iran began August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday. The CIA, again, the words in their logo, Central Intelligence Agency, United States of America, equates to 201. Their motto, the work of a nation, the center of intelligence, equates to 201. The CIA was created on the 201st day of the sitting Pope's age, who was Pope Pius at the time. Donald Trump, Jesuit educated at Fordham, just appointed his guy to head the CIA on the Superior General's birthday, November 12th. Arturo Sosa, the leader of the Jesuits. Catholic educated is he. A lot of people have said over the years, CIA really stands for Catholics in Action. Doesn't it make sense operating in that federal city with all the Roman architecture? In Jewish gematria, Roman is 201. All roads leading to Rome, including the 201. But okay, let's just go through today's headlines. This is a big one this morning. Ukraine's military accuses Russia of launching an intercontinental ballistic missile in, I don't know if that's a silent D or it's Dnipro or Nipro, but whatever the name of the town is, here's what matters, the gematria. The name of the town equates to 40. This is the news today, November 21st, the day leaving 40 days left in the year. And again, you apply this knowledge and you just look at what's in the headlines every single day. It's news by the numbers, literally every single day by this Kabbalistic code. And the headlines are usually just like this. This claim, this alleged, sources say this happened. It's believed that this happened. There's like nothing that's ever concrete. If an intercontinental ballistic missile hit this town in the information age where there's cameras and satellites and all this stuff everywhere, let me see the big crater in the ground and what happened. Not some story of, oh, this is believed to have happened. This is alleged to have happened. This is 1984, you guys. This is literally George Orwell's 1984. And don't forget, Putin has the 84 quoted right in his name. Have you ever thought about why George Orwell, a member of the Fabian Society, which is an offshoot of the Jesuits, why he named his book a number? A number is the title of the book. A book where people are under mind control from screens. They're just under constant mind control. They have no ability to think for themselves. They're just under the screen's authority, and the screen is controlled by the authorities. They're just being told what to think all the time. They understand their nation's always at war, but they don't know why it's at war. Remember, you guys, the Jesuit order published Art of War in 1773. There's no historical record of Sun Tzu ever existed. Zero proof of Sun Tzu ever existed. The only reason Art of War is known about is because of the Jesuit priest, Father Amia, who published it in 1773. That's 3 years before this nation was officially established, the nation that's been at war almost ever since. Again, the nation where the Jesuits followed the Protestants across the Atlantic and never let anybody escape that tyranny that was going on over in Europe from the Catholic Church. Again, they sailed right over here behind them and they said, you're not getting away. We'll rule you in this land too. And don't forget, this nation's capital, wasn't always D.C., the Jesuit stronghold. Just like Inauguration Day wasn't always the 201st day of the nation's age, 20/1. Trump had to do his ex-wife dirty, bury her on the 201st day of the year. And just like how Biden had to do his son Beau Biden dirty 201 days before the Pope's birthday. And let's not forget, Leo Jeremiah O'Donovan equals 201. That's the Jesuit priest and former head of Georgetown that did the funeral for Beau Biden after he died in a 201 ritual, and then did the inauguration for Joe Biden on the 201st day of the nation's age. Joe Biden number 46, Beau Biden dead at 46, Catholic equals 46. The 2020 election exactly 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday, partly in tribute to JFK, the only other Catholic president who got smoked at age 46. Again, it's all biblical. The Holy Bible 201, Catholic 46. But yeah, here's today's story. Reportedly, an intercontinental ballistic missile hit this town. I mean, show us something. Show us something. How much money has the taxpayer sent over for this war, and we haven't really been showing anything? That little kid that goes around, the magical underwear kid, what's his name? I can't think of his name right now, but he gets to go on Fox News. He's getting a lot of views on YouTube, going around telling everybody to vote for Trump. They sent that kid over to Ukraine, and he said his proof that the war is going on is that he heard one of the war sirens go off. And he has that in his video. Him and his mom are in the little hotel room or wherever they're staying in Ukraine. and it's the middle of the night, and the missile warning sirens going off, and he's saying, "Oh my God, this is what it is to be in a war zone." I mean, how could any? It's like, okay, a siren going off. I mean, I understand that could be scary, but that's not proof that anything's going on. It's not proof of anything. And for all you guys who say, well, what about all the blown up buildings all over that they show on TV? Watch the Hollywood movies from about 20 years ago. Just look up any movies ever set in Ukraine. That place has been like looking like a war cemetery for a long time. Okay. They've been having blown up buildings just left in their landscape, just like Gaza, for a long time. But movies from 20 years ago over there, things look the exact same. So I don't see any proof of anything other than a story being created to become an excuse for why the taxpayers have to send away billions of dollars supposedly to be involved in this war. And again, you guys, it's just, if you know what's going on, you know what a joke it is. Red, white, and blue flags from Russia to the U.S. There's a reason that they use those colors. It's highly Masonic. Remember, the modern Freemasonry is a Jesuit creation. Again, look into what the red and the blue symbolizes. And a big part of it is blood, because through our veins, our blood is blue until we're cut. And then when it comes out and mixes with oxygen, it turns red. This nation's named after a Masonic war general. People bleed in war. Again, war. War is the tactic of the cabal. It generates wealth. It generates power. It generates control. It keeps people in fear. Fear is a great way to control people. But yeah, this whole war, which is now coming up on the second anniversary as of February 24th next year. Or God, is that already the third anniversary? Damn, it's already the third anniversary, isn't it? It'll be the third anniversary. It'll be the third anniversary. February 24th. Time flies. But this has been the whole thing. And I still do remember, I saw it with my own eyes. If you watch news late at night, sometimes you'll see like the most unbelievable things. If you're watching like the 1 a.m. CNN, maybe after midnight CNN, they'll do things on the news like you're almost like, okay, they didn't do that in the daytime. And sometimes they show you things and you're like, okay, was that a litmus test to see who's paying attention? I still remember the early days of Russia, Ukraine. And I remember a CNN journalist, he was out on a street with an old tank. I mean, this looked like an old World War II era tank. And it supposedly had been hit by a bomb and it was all burnt up. And he's out there walking by himself. And it looked like a movie set, really. You don't hear any noise. It's all quiet. And then he comes around one side of the tank. He's like, oh my God. Oh my God. There's a dead body in front of me. And the camera just barely pans to the body on the street. And you can just see, you guys, you could just see it was like one of those. Remember when you're in health class and you learn to do CPR on the dummy, the plastic dummy? You could just see that's what it was. And I was like, okay. Like, how bad is it? How bad is it that they can do this to you? You know, they're telling you a war's going on and they have to create a movie set? Now, so, you know, I can already hear what trolls has got. They'd say, well, maybe they want to communicate the idea that there is a war going on, but they don't actually want to be in the war zone. So they kind of want to simulate it. Like, okay. Okay. I mean, okay, that can be your argument. That can be your argument. Fine. But don't you want to know where the real war is? Don't you want some proof of the actual war? Not a news anchor going, oh my God, a dead body. And then the camera goes and it's literally a plastic dummy. Because I guarantee you that happened. I watched that with my own eyes and I just thought, oh, wow. It was like Michael Brown, you guys. Look up Michael Brown. Michael Brown, where all the cops stood around him in a circle. Because isn't that what cops normally do? Lock arms and stand in a circle for like 6 hours in the middle of the street around a dead body. But find that footage. I used to have it up on my channel, which has now been deleted 20 some times. I used to have the footage of when the circle finally broke and they picked up the plastic dummy and loaded it into the back of a police SUV. Yes, not in an ambulance, into the back of a police SUV. That's where the Michael Brown dummy went for the PSYOP that started the riots in Ferguson that burned down parts of the city. Yeah, Michael Brown, for the record, 201, St. Louis, very strong Jesuit outpost, St. Louis University. A lot of history comes out of there. And keep in mind, I mean, that's part of the French, the Louisiana Purchase, the French, the Jesuits from France. Don't get me started on all the 201s with George Floyd. Similar thing. I never saw them load George Floyd. If that was some kind of dummy, technology came a long way because George Floyd looked like a real human being. But Michael Brown was a plastic dummy. And if you look it up, Chicago, that's where Michael Brown's replica dummy is now in a museum. You can go visit Michael Brown's replica dummy in the museum on 47th Street in Chicago. I think that's part of the reason they tell you that they killed George Floyd on the corner of 38th in Chicago. But yeah, look it up. Michael Brown replica plastic dummy. It's in there in Chicago. And are we sure that's not the same one that was loaded into the back of the police van? The police SUV? And again, I mean, starting a race war. That's another thing. And then the destruction of the property. Who do you think the government of Missouri went to get the loan to repair the damage? You know? Instigated. Didn't need to happen. Contrived. Creating problems all the time that create these destructive acts that, oh, here comes the central banker again to say today, don't worry, America, don't worry, whatever part of the world we just did that act in, we got a loan for you. We got a loan ready to go for you. All right, so yeah, that's today, the day leaving 40 days left in the year, and we're going to hit on this 40 theme. This happened on a Thursday, right? Every week I'm educated about 35 Thursday. Last week it was InfoWars being auctioned off to the Onion, and the story was that Alex Jones could only come up with $3.5 million to try and save InfoWars. And for the record, the Onion's another 35. Again, the 4 base ciphers of the English language, if you're new here, this is what it looks like. The Onion has the 35. Actually, you see how the Onion's got all these numbers, 146, 116, 35. Look at Thursday. It's the same thing, just reversed. Thursday's 35, 46, 116, 100. Again, the 4 base ciphers of the English language, alphabetic order. A is 1 up to Z is 26. The next cipher, the alphabetic order with numerology. You see in the first cipher, T's worth 20 because it's the 20th letter. And the second cipher, T's worth 2 because the numerology of 20 is 2 plus 0 is 2. In the third cipher, just running the alphabetic order in reverse, Z is 1 back to A is 26. And then the last cipher, the alphabetic order with numerology. You know, it gets annoying sometimes when you're showing these things to people and they're like, look at that. You're just like inventing ciphers to make things line up. It's like, actually, these were written about in a book in 1926 by a guy who studied the occult named Manly P. Hall. And he doesn't really reveal anything other than this numerical sequence behind the English language. He leaves it up to the reader to see if there's any merit to it. And even says, I'm not sure if there's any merit to it, but here it is. It relates to ancient practices going to other biblical languages like Hebrew and Aramaic. I read that and I said, you know what? I'm going to put this to the test because I see some kind of major numerology rituals going on with the news and government all the time, and I don't know what it's about. That was me when I came across that book in 2013. A lot of hard work and grinding, things started to make sense. Watching repetitive patterns like discovering 35 Thursday. 35 Thursday pays the bills every week for a lot of people in this community by taking advantage of it in rig sports. I'm sure 35 Thursday will be in effect tonight with the football game again. And yeah, one guy can get his 35th win in prime time tonight, and the other guy can stay on 35 career wins. What are the odds? They just happen to be meeting on Thursday for Thursday night football. What did I just tell you the other day about the basketball game? I said, watch what they're going to do in Dallas and New Orleans to pay tribute to Lee Harvey Oswald and the assassination. Lee Harvey from New Orleans shot JFK in Dallas from 411 Elm Street. What just happened the other night in the Dallas-New Orleans match? New Orleans fell to 4-11, and Dallas became 6-3 at home, like 63. Stuff's going on all the time. Dopey people think it's a coincidence. See, understand the people who recognize it, they're patting their pockets. They're not getting taken in by this BS. If they were on the level we were on, we'd be changing the world. But you have all these dopes that think somehow this is just some kind of coincidence every day. 35 Thursday, every week from news to sports. 35th Meridian East is where this town supposedly got hit on a Thursday. And then the 48th parallel stands out as well. Russia and World War both equal 48 with all these rumors of World War. And don't forget George Orwell's book, Rumors of War. The Bible, Rumors of War. The 4th book of the Bible, Numbers. Also worth mentioning. Next week, 1 week from today, November 28th, Thanksgiving here in the US. It's going to be exactly 144 weeks after the war began between Russia and Ukraine. Again, it began February 24th. That's the 55th day of the year, like military 55. Again, it's the anniversary of the Franciscans being established. It's the anniversary of the Jesuits implementing the Gregorian calendar. But 144 weeks is interesting. I mean, it's 33 months and days as well, but the 144 fits right in with those Jesuits. 1128 is the date. 1128 is a lot like, or the date 1128 is a lot like 1128, which is the 47th triangular number. Of course, Ukraine equals 47. We talked about this yesterday with Joe Biden, Mr. 47, in the 47th week of the year for giving $4.7 billion in loans to Ukraine. So Joe Biden said, F you, American taxpayer. My allegiance for this 47 rituals with Ukraine. And again, you guys need to understand it. The presidents have told us in the past about this new world order. We are not a sovereign nation. We are the heart of the military or the militarism for the new world order. That's what we're the tax cattle to make the wheels spin for the war machine. That's what we are in America. And that's why we worship militarism and violence. I mean, almost all of our entertainment is so focused on the authorities. I mean, how many movies and TV shows are based on militarism, CIA, other spy agencies, war games, police, government, corruption within those things? I mean, like, we're used to just watching it through the movies, and then the same dopes who are on the program be like, that stuff only happened in the movies. It's like, well, I don't know how you come to these conclusions. Looks like it's happening on a daily basis within reality that you're not paying attention to. And that's the thing. Most of them aren't paying attention to reality. They're just constantly in entertainment. They're spending more time watching shows and movies. And then those of us who are paying attention, we're the ones getting accused of watching too many movies. Like, actually, that's you. You're the one that spends all your time with entertainment. I'm the one who's grinding away over here, not because this is what I want to do with my life, but because I feel like it's a responsibility. I feel like it's a responsibility to expose the evil, since almost no one else can even see what's going on right in front of their face. You know, they're playing peekaboo all the time. I can't see it, so it didn't happen. But yeah, it is funny how this war with Russia and Ukraine, it's going to be exactly 144 weeks on 11/28. And remember, time has that gematria of 47 and 144. Now, I'm hoping that it'll just end. I would love to see it just end, but it looks like things are escalating. It looks like things are escalating in their ongoing scheme. And I'll remind you guys, Netanyahu came back on the anniversary of Albert Pike's birthday, who wrote the letter about 3 world wars centered on political Zionism. Of course, he leads the Zionist nation of Israel, which we'll touch on here in a second with what's going on with him today, with the International Criminal Court, which was established shortly after 9/11. But if you didn't hear, a warrant by the ICC, which was created in Rome, was issued to arrest Netanyahu and members of his administration. You know that's not going to happen. It's all divisive. It's all symbolic. We're going to get to that. But again, these rituals in time, ticking time bombs, a lot of foreshadowing and symbolism. Like, again, Netanyahu coming back the day he did, when Albert Pike, returning on his birthday, he did write the letter about 3 world wars, where the third is a war based on political Zionism. And again, the Zionist nation, the people who live there, they originated from the Caucasus Mountains, Khazaria, where this war is going on in Ukraine. And you guys, I mean, Zelensky is a perfect example. And let's not forget that Zelensky had that show before he became president, where he rises up and becomes the populist leader of Ukraine. That was like their Hollywood predictive programming for what became his presidency. The guy who only wears sweatshirts. It's just, I mean, if you guys have not been, we've been covering so many rituals they've done with this, and today's just another example. But about the 40 thing, and today leaving 40 days left in the year. Remember, they're saying this war is illegal that Netanyahu has waged. They waited until the day leaving 40 days left in the year to take down the Zionist administration, and you know it's not going to happen. But we've been talking about all the 40 rituals going on with this war since the beginning, including when Netanyahu declared war on the day leaving 84 days left in the year. Remember, the war began October 7th. Netanyahu declared war on Hamas the next day, October 8th, the day leaving 84 days left in the year. Look, you see how Zionism's got the 84, just like Jesuit, just like Masonry, just like the Catholic Church, just like the Jesuit order, just like United States of America. The list goes on. 84, special number. George Orwell's 1984. The Fabian Society established in 1884. Remember the word 40. We spell 40 this awkward way. 40. 84. No U in 40. Never made any sense. This used to drive me nuts when I was a kid. No teacher had an explanation. But now I look, I'm like, okay, I see. They like to bring this 40-84 thing together. United States alone is 40. Just the abbreviation US is 40. Again, United States of America, 84. This Jesuit nation. But yeah, on the day leaving 40 days left in the year, the ICC established in Rome says they're taking down Netanyahu. You know it's not going to happen. Article 40 again began the war on the day leaving 84 days left in the year. All of this is biblical. 40, this recurring number in the Holy Bible. And with regards to Israel, you know, a lot of people are aware, whether they're Bible readers or not, about the Israelites wandering in the wilderness for 40 years for being disobedient to God, punishment. You look at Netanyahu. I mean, how could he be anything other than in defiance of God, right? I mean, this evil, wicked man. He's just like the perfect character for the role. He has like this Darth Vader voice. Just merciless, baby killer, doesn't let up. Fake apologies here and there as he gets right back to bombing within 10 minutes of the false apology. Just total villain character, right? Totally symbolic of the synagogue of Satan. And again, this whole puppet show is like this. Okay, so they have to wait till the day leaving 40 days left in the year. The thing created in Rome. Remember the Jesuit headquarters in Rome. Catholic Church in Rome. Again, if you guys are new here, Catholic equates to 71. Whore of Babylon, 71. The Society of Jesus, the formal title of the Jesuits, 71, right? Remember, this war began on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday, and then 71 days after the Pope's birthday, they took out the most notable Rothschild banker. To remind you that that's nothing but a puppet family. Rothschild means red shield, like what the Romans had, like what the Templars used. The original bankers, this papal Jew family, just happens to have the name that's symbolic of the Templars, and people don't get the joke. Everyone and their mother knows that name in the conspiracy community, and they think that they're the pinnacle. They're not. Look at that whole family and how many of them died in 201 rituals. The Balfour Declaration, case in point, it's addressed to a Lord Rothschild. Look up that Rothschild who it was addressed to. He died 201 days from his birthday, okay? Just like State of Israel's 201, like the Jesuit Order's 201, like the Holy Bible's 201. Same things going on all the time. The Rothschild who just died 71 days after the Pope's birthday at age 87, while the Pope's 87. And remember, when he died, the Superior General was 75. The Pope was 87. The founder of the Jesuits, Ignatius Loyola, has the 87-75 connection. Of course, the 201 as well. Also the 231, which is the 21st triangular number. We're going to talk more about 21 in the Jesuits, as these things are happening on the 21st and the 21st century. But also, a lot of the articles talking about Netanyahu today, they're showing this image from not that long ago, September 27th. That's the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by the Roman Catholic Church, the day leaving 95 days left in the year when their original mission was to counter the 95 Theses. But a lot of the stories about Netanyahu are showing him at the United Nations, holding up this image, referring to Iran, Iraq, and Syria as the curse. Again, the image is from a very special day to the Jesuits. And you guys, in case you forgot, Benjamin Netanyahu, 282, the war began 282 days after he came into power. 177 and 69 as well, just like the Jesuit order. But again, you look at this, the ICC, which ordered this arrest warrant for him and members of his administration, started July 1st, 7/1 in 2002, not long after 9/11. And it was established after it was ratified by 60 countries. Remember, the word order is 60. The first decade, the Jesuits were with the Roman Catholic Church. Their order was limited to 60 members. Probably more major Jesuit rituals than ever leading up to this 60th U.S. presidential election, including Trump's ex-wife falling down the stairs and dying exactly 60 weeks after the first Jesuitic nation year began, which ran more than a typical calendar year. ICC, with the International Criminal Courts known by 21. This comes on the 21st for war crimes. War is 21. Rome is 21. You guys might remember in the opening seconds of the year 2021, I posted to my Twitter, I said, watch for the major war ritual coming to start this year. And remember what it was. It was on February 1st, 2/1. The military of Burma overthrew its government. And we looked into that. It blew my mind because sweet ladies from Burma, I didn't predict that it was going to happen in Burma, but it all made a ton of sense once we looked into it. I said, look at that, you guys. The makeshift government that just got overthrown by the military, it was established on September 27th, the anniversary of the Jesuits being recognized by Rome. You've had Catholic Christian missionaries all over the East since the 16th century. Sweet lady, where she comes from, Kachin State in Burma. Catholic missionaries created the language there for Kachin State, and it's synced up with their Kachin Bibles, which are based on English translations of the Bibles. But again, these people have been all over the world, and that's how they're able to have all this influence and power all over. And if you know what you're looking at, it's so obvious who's doing it. But ICC, War, Rome, Jesuit, all 21. Hey, you want to add to that list? Bible's 21, Evil's 21. Not necessarily saying the Bible's evil, but the Bible does condone evil. And because of the way it's written and how it can be interpreted in all kinds of different ways, it does open the door for people to commit evil in the name of the Bible, which has been going on all across the world, including in Burma, where it's divided among three major religions: Islam, Buddhism, and Christianity. And it's why Burma, now known as Myanmar, has the longest ongoing civil war in the world. And it's a tough place to live. Sweet lady hasn't been able to communicate with her family now for over 4 months because the military, they've done this several times now. They turn off the internet and phone lines so you can't communicate. So sweet lady can't even let her family know about, the little baby she just had. But it's obvious who's really running that nation. So yeah, again, you guys can go dig back to my Twitter, opening moments of 2021. I said, here comes the major war ritual from the Jesuits, and boom, February 1st. Burma became the focus of the nation. And what's funny is in the United States of amnesia, no one can even remember that. They're like, Burma, war, I don't remember anything. I know, you can't remember anything past Monday. That's what it is to be in the United States of amnesia. But yeah, also, oh, hold on. I screwed up here. Disregard that. That's a mistake. I measured from the wrong date. Disregard, typo. But you know what is interesting? Had I measured from the right date, September 27th to today, it would have been 55 days later. Remember, Satan equates to 55. They do all the synagogue of Satan rituals with Israel, and that's how we predicted the war dead on. I mean, many years in advance, I said why a major war would begin in Israel when it was 75 years old, likely in 2023. And then when Netanyahu came back the way he did, I said, all right, just wait. Close to Yale's 322nd birthday, you're going to see a major war start in Israel. That video is still up on GematriaEffectNews 22. You can go back and watch. It's dated December 29, 2022, the day Netanyahu came back. I laid out why the major war would begin in Israel in 2023 in tribute to the synagogue of Satan, and close to when Yale turned 322 years old. October 7th, war began. October 8th, Netanyahu declared war. October 9th, Yale turned 322 years old. 322. Very important too. Skull and Bones, the order at Yale that gets its symbolism from the Templars who waged the Crusades in that part of the world, who set up their headquarters in what is modern-day Jerusalem at Al-Aqsa Mosque, and they referred to it as Solomon's Temple. Again, for real, don't know, the whole reason that Israel is even where it is because of the Catholic Church. And look at this, you guys. Temple Mount, where the Templars had their headquarters, Temple Mount equals 46. Religion equals 46. Catholic equals 46. Sol Invictus, important to the Catholic Church, 46. Remember, from when they started celebrating the sun's birthday on 12/25 to when it was first proposed that they celebrate Jesus' birthday on 12/25. That was 46 years later. Again, these things aren't an accident. And this has created chaos in the world. Chaos 46, the Latin for order out of chaos. Order ab chao 46. Okay? So yes, the ICC was created in Rome, July 1st, 2002. That means it turned 22 years old. And notice today's report says a 22-page report was issued for the arrest of Netanyahu. Forget where it went. Maybe it was another article I read, but it was somehow 22-page report. 22, one of those master numbers, just numerology. 22 chapters in Revelation about the war between good and evil at the end of the world. Everything biblical. The Holy Bible 201, like State of Israel, like the Jesuit order. But yeah, I mean, to just be this big of a goon, to go up on the world stage on this Jesuit day, showing your puppet strings, holding up a place where millions of good people live, and referring to him as a curse. I mean, God. And we're made to pay for this. We're made to pay for this nation with our tax dollars. How come the people who got genocided in Turkey, the Armenians, how come they didn't get their own state that we subsidize by the billions every year? Native Americans, I mean, you know, we wiped them out on this own land, genocide. What are we doing for them? Send a little stimulus money to the reservations, pennies on the dollar. Why do these people get the preferential treatment? Again, it all goes back to these Jesuit alliances, and they know how to play people and keep jealousy happening. I mean, you hear Black Americans talk about it all the time. Why do we send all these reparations to Israel, but there's no reparations for us who built this nation as slaves, or our ancestors, they would say. And again, this is why they play the games that they do. Favoritism creates problems. It's just like if a parent it has favoritism towards one of their child, it's going to breed all kinds of problems in that family that will get worse as time goes on. These people rule this way because they need the problems. The problems bring about their planned solutions. By the way, it's 31 days after Netanyahu's birthday, and he's accused of war crimes. The key word there, crimes. 31 days after his birthday. It's nothing but news by the numbers. And yeah, again, in case you forgot the whole thing with the people of Shem and me as Shem, the first hostage. I'm going to show you just how big of a joke all this stuff is, because it's all biblical. Netanyahu's birthday is 10/21, right? Netanyahu's birthday is October 21st, like we just had on the screen. In Genesis 10:21, it mentions the people of Shem. Mia Shem, the girl with the pretty eyes, the sea blue eyes. She became the focus, the first image of a hostage put out. And as we pointed out, you remember this girl, Mia Shem, right? But look at her name, you guys. Look at her name in the 4 base ciphers. The exact same as Catholic in all 4. And again, I mean, you got to be a super hardcore coincidence theorist to look at this and decide it's all meaningless. I know we have a channel that's super focused on this work, and every video they do every day now is focused on this work and making fun of it. But what I can tell you, I can see through that person, and I can tell you that they know that this work is true. But who's ever behind them cannot allow them to admit to it. And that's why he sits there and talks about it all day. But then he comes back to the line after he presents something and goes, but you know, man, I think it's just like Pokemon cards. It's as real as Pokemon cards. It's just like, it's just bullshit. It's just like, okay, that's not a real argument to counter what you're talking about. Again, Catholic happens to equal 46. There are 46 books in the Catholic Old Testament, which is the Jewish section. Catholic, 145. David Ben-Gurion equals 145. Israel was created on the 14th day of the 5th month. There's 145 more chapters in the Catholic Old Testament, the Jewish section. So this calendar, which is Catholic, undeniably, Israel was created in the time of the existence of this calendar on 14/5. After wars that were instigated by the numbers, that all point back to this same Catholic Jesuit cabal. Again, who do you think really financed Hitler, who modeled the SS after the Jesuits? Adolphus Hitler, the name on his birth certificate, 201. Mia Shem, 35 like Catholic with the alphabetic order and numerology. What are the odds that the first Catholic president, JFK, was number 35, killed on I-35 at age 46? What are the odds that 1225, the very special date of the Catholic Church, what are the odds that 1225 has a square root of 35? Remember, Jesuitism equals 35, Holy See equals 35, and they spell it S-E-E like you see with your eyes. The word eye is 35. Genesis 3:5 is about the eyes of God. To the occult, the sun is the eye of God. When it's out, when it's open, there's light, people see. When it sets, when it's nighttime, it's dark, people can't see. The eye of God in the sky. He's got the whole world in his hands. He's watching everybody. Again, I mean, and then as for the 71, I have some theories on the 71. I've talked about them before. Again, the point is, though, you see the rituals they perform. Just like how this war in Israel, which is connected to the war with Russia and Ukraine, began on Putin's 71st birthday, 71 days before the Pope's birthday. So, Zeus. Zeus has that connection to 71 as well. And, of course, that was the Greek god of gods. And Zeus is Jupiter. And then in Christianity, where the New Testament is written in Greek, you get Zeus, kind of like Jupiter Zeus. That's part of it. 71 is the 20th prime number. The 20th letter of the alphabet is a T, which looks like a cross. When you take the alphabetic order of numerology, cross equals 20, like time, like seasons, the symbol of the church. But yeah, I have to go back and look through all my old notes. There's some biblical verses with the 7-1 that make me think that's also what it's about. Almost all of this stuff does pertain to biblical verses. So. What was I saying here about this? Just old school stuff. Walt Disney, most famous member of De Molay, it comes from the Templars, like the Templar cross in the middle of the Jesuit Order's logo. Again, these are military orders of the church historically. Walt Disney was the 107th member of the Mother Chapter. But that 107, again, the war began on 10/7, October 7th, the anniversary of us invading Afghanistan after 9/11. Military equals 107. It's the day leaving 85 days left in the year. Templar equals 85. Templars waged the Crusades. Isus Hominum Salvator equals 85. That's the Jesuit motto inside their symbol with the Templar cross. And isn't it interesting how hostage and De Molay go together as well? After the hostage story on 10/7, when all the world's a stage and the magical world of Disney commands the biggest theatrical stage there ever was. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot to this. I just did want to go back and remind you about Mia Shem and Netanyahu and biblical verses and ritualism and leading us up to today. And again, yesterday, Biden had to forgive $4.7 billion of loans to Ukraine on his birthday on November 20th. And again, I mean, what do I always have in the background? What is 47, right? It's always back there. Ukraine equals 47, like president, like White House, like government, like authority, like Republican, like Democrat, like DC. The list goes on. Israel was drawn up as a nation in 47. Again, Ukraine equals 47. Caesar equates to 47. Vatican 47. The Vatican's birthday is 211. 211 is the 47th prime. Had the first Super Bowl last year on the Vatican's birthday. The score was 25-22, 47 points. Vatican also equals 25, like Pope. The first Super Bowl season was the 47th season of the NFL. All roads lead to Rome. Again, Biden became a senator in 72. That was the 47th U.S. presidential election. He was a member of the federal government for 47 years himself before becoming president-elect. He makes this announcement in the 47th week of the year, which is the week of his birthday. He took the White House with Obama at age 47. Kamala ran to be number 47 at his side because he stepped down by the numbers for her and the Whore of Babylon ritual on 21/7, which we covered. And again, I still think there's a very great chance that Kamala becomes number 47 because one thing or another happens to Biden before the end of his administration. Does he kick the bucket like Gerald Ford predicted? Does he resign and step down so Kamala can be the first female president like Kamala's communications director asked for, who had the same birthday that Biden passed the torch to Kamala on July 21st? Isn't it funny that I said that would happen when he was 81 and she was 59 and it happened on my birthday? How weird is that? And don't forget, July 21st, my birthday, is also important to the Jesuit history. It's the day they were suppressed in history, July 21st. You talk about the Jesuits and weather warfare. I almost wonder if the day of my birthday, they did a major weather experiment, because if you type in right now, what's the coldest day ever recorded? It's the same day I was born, July 21st, 1983. And knowing that that day is important to the Jesuits makes you go, man, is what caused that crazy cold weather that day, that record cold weather? Did they do something that day? I mean, I wouldn't put it past them. I wouldn't put it past them. Storm shadow equals 47. Just a reminder that the US and UK never got free from one another. It's all part of the, again, they say the sun never sets on Britain. The Jesuit order's logo is the sun. The Catholic Church has owned England since forever. They spread their authority across the world. Britain, the colonizers, highly militaristic, a lot like the United States, who continue the legacy. Storm Shadow, 47. Ukraine fires UK-made Storm Shadow missiles into Russia for first time. And again, just the way that media programs, right? Like this story was kind of taught like, oh yeah, like, oh man, go west. That Western technology fighting back. But then the next day, oh, Russia retaliates. Evil Russia. Oh my God, should we send billions more? Again, and people just let the media do its thinking for them. You guys, there's no real separation between any of these nations. Russia and the U.S. almost have the exact same flag, almost the same history. They've both been involved in the nuclear programs, the space programs, using these weapons for weather warfare. I mean, these are nations with two parallel histories, and they've been used as like magnets to create polarization and keep people in fear, like the Cold War. They kept people in fear forever, and now they've kind of brought back the Cold War. Jesuit-educated Castro, right off the coast of Florida, was a major asset for this Jesuit scheme. And realize how they got to do it too, right? The U.S. has colonized all over the world, flipped governments all over the world, but they keep this little communist nation right at its shores that they can use as a boogeyman. You don't see that game. You don't think the U.S. could neutralize the threat in no time flat? They need that little threat there off the coast. That's strategic. That's part of the New World Order game. Again, there's very little division at the top. From the ruling governments of the world right now, but they need their little strategic boogeymen all over the place so they can scare people. Yeah, Castro, another Jesuit. We saw what they just did with shutting down their nuclear reactor in the Jesuit ritual in tribute to the Bay of Pigs. The name of that town where the nuclear reactor went down means slaughtered pigs. Who would even ever name their town that way? Only conquerors. Will name this town after slaughtered pigs. Can you imagine like it being your own place and you're like, what are we going to call this beautiful place? Let's call it Slaughtered Pigs. Yeah. No, it's all mockery, you guys. It's because most of us are living in a land controlled by foreign conquerors. People are so hurt right now about people crossing the border in this New World Order agenda. But really, everyone should ask the question, I mean, do we even deserve to be here? I mean, a few hundred years ago, 400, 500 years ago, the people that were living where we all live now looked a lot different. They got conquered and genocided, So what gives the next group of people not the right to come here and create a better life for themselves as well? I mean, this whole idea of borders and boundaries, it plays into the scheme of things. Everyone's like, well, if you allow people to come in, then you have to pay taxes. Okay, I hear what your argument. Maybe the real problem then is to get rid of these governments that force us to pay taxes for other people. Maybe that's the real problem. Maybe the real problem is governments that destroyed people's lives through their policies, like what they did to the Mexican farmer with NAFTA, put him out of business because they were able to set the price of corn so low that only the mega corporations could even dream of making a profit and surviving in the industry like that. And that's the thing too, you guys. I really do maintain it's kind of like the Bill Hicks joke. And please don't tell me Bill Hicks is Alex Jones, because they're not the same people. I hate that psyop as well. They are both alive at the same point. Bill Hicks is taller than Alex Jones, much different build, actually a funny human being with intelligent things to say, whereas Alex Jones has always been a fat little shill. But anyway, Bill Hicks, he used to always joke about how our economy is totally fake. Well, what about how they both have a connection to Austin, Texas, and Kevin Booth? Oh, so what? Everybody in Austin, Texas, who was connected to a guy in the entertainment business down there is Alex Jones then? That's a dumb argument. I hate how many people that know things are wrong in the world succumb to dumb arguments that are easily debunked, including Alex Jones's Bill Hicks and the earth is flat. These are dumb arguments that are psyops that are meant to make you look stupid. And they don't have anything to do with anything either. You should be focused on what's going on Earth and who's behind all the evil shenanigans. I know certain channels that the only content they do is the earth is flat and Alex Jones is Bill Hicks. And those channels, you've never seen their faces, and they go by weird names too, like Russian Vids, who pretty much stopped making videos once this war broke out in Russia. Also not an accident. Same Russian Vids who spent, the only other topic he covered was trying to undermine my credibility by making stuff up. Again, you guys can't figure it out. You can't figure out who the obvious shill channels are, the obvious bullshitters. People whose work never added up to anything or made any difference other than making people in the truth community who were legit look stupid. A lot of you guys still can't figure it out because you're not evidence-based people. You're believers. The flat earth is all based on belief. And dumb people come back and say, oh, the globe Earth is based on belief. No, it's based on mathematics. It's based on thousands of years of observation. It's based on common sense. Ooh, I don't want to get into this topic, but I hate how dumb people are. The flat earth psyop was a litmus test to show that, yeah, these people might be onto something, realizing things are wrong in the world, but they're not that smart either. And here, we'll expose how dumb they are by just forcing down their throats through all of our Google channels. Flat earth psyop. We'll make it look like it's viral and popular and everybody cares about it. Here, we found this former rapist from prison, ODD reality, to promote it. Here, we found this former guy who beat up a guy with a baseball bat, Richie from Boston, aka Major Retard, to promote it. Here, we'll get this guy. He actually speaks pretty well with an accent. The accent always gets Americans. What's his name? Santos Bonacci. We'll get him to say the earth is flat. What other former prison convicts did they pull out of the woodwork to promote the flat earth? And all three of those tards I just mentioned all targeted my work and attacked it. And when the car crashed through my house on Christmas Eve, they all made videos about how it was a hoax. Well, I don't know if Bonacci did, actually. I don't think he did, but the other two fat slobs did. And Russian Vids, of course. And who knows? Russian Vids probably a convict as well. You don't even know who he is. But yeah, it's sad how so many people still can't figure out what was a psyop and what was the truth. And just, all the dummies too. They just got all the false lines. The Jesuits created the globe Earth. Oh, that's weird because the Jesuits have existed since 1534, and the spherical Earth model goes back to the Greeks and thousands of years ago. Need to get our timeline fixed here. NASA created the globe Earth. Oh, that's weird. NASA's been around since the 50s. 1950 definitely wasn't thousands of years ago. They didn't create the globe Earth. They might put out fake images to justify another fraudulent military-based program to justify billions of dollars in spending that doesn't need to be spent. Again, a smarter person would realize that the better argument for NASA being a fraud is that it's another military lie that generates a lot of tax revenues supposedly going to certain things where maybe it's really not going there. I just asked that guy who's so focused on our channel who loves NASA. I said, tell me, so we spent all this money on NASA for all these decades. And I said, what has it done to justify how much money we've spent that's helped out the world? And he goes, well, it gave us GPS. And I said, okay, GPS. I don't know if that really made the world better. I remember a time before GPS where I was actually a smarter, more knowledgeable person about my own environment because I actually memorized how to drive places. And I know that story is not just unique to me. GPS goes with the whole smartphone thing. The technology gets smarter, but we get dumber because we literally have to use our mind less because we have these tools doing the work for us. If I have a GPS just navigating me how to get there, it's how it works. Your brain, you don't even memorize your own route. You just turn on the GPS and you get there. But then what happens the day the GPS doesn't work? Oh shit! Now you don't know how to get to where you are, and hard to find a map anymore, and you don't even have a printer in your house because everything's digital. Before you, if you needed directions, you might print them out on MapQuest or actually have a map in your car. So I made the point to him. I said, so is it really that great of improvement? He's like, yeah, I can concede the point. I guess it's not that important. I said, so what else has NASA done? And the only other thing he can come up with, he goes, well, they've done some important research on cancer. And I said, okay, maybe they have. But is humanity doing better in the battle against cancer since NASA was launched in the 50s? Or is it true that more people are dying from cancer than ever and at younger and younger ages? And he thought about it and he goes, yeah, I suppose that's true too. So I said, so spending all this money on NASA, was it worth it for easier navigation to our destination? And then he was like, I see your point. No, so yeah, NASA. I mean, right now, if you look up NASA's current budget and you divide the budget by the days in the year, you'll see that NASA's budget right now is over $68 million a year. A lesser intelligence person will say that money is being spent to deceive people that the Earth is flat, which really doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. A smarter person would say, well, this looks like all the other things that we're being lied to about that's putting money in the ruling class's pocket. And that's why there is a class of billionaires who largely are financed to the tune they are to be as wealthy as they are by government contracts that are paid for by the taxpayers. All this tax money is being siphoned and given to certain people to put them in positions of power where they have way too much influence over society. Hello, Bill Gates. Hello, the whole tech industry. I mean, the whole tech industry is super big because of all of the government contracts that go to those companies. I'm talking about Microsoft. I'm talking about Amazon. I'm talking about all of them. Apple, Google, all of these companies have major government contracts, and it's mostly about databases and information. And in the case of like the Amazons of the world, again, most of them don't realize Amazon's real business is technology development, and they are the leaders in building the very sophisticated cameras and surveillance technology. You go to the Amazon campus in Seattle, a lot of people from China and Russia and India who are here on work visas and aren't even American citizens are building the technology that undermines the idea of freedom and liberty and not being surveillanced by the state. They're using non-Americans to build the surveillance state. And yeah, arguing about the shape of the earth is not helping one bit with any of it. What are you talking about? If we could all see that the earth was flat and stationary, then we would all come to the greatest truth. And did you know that NASA means deceive in Hebrew? It's like listen to the zombie cult. No, it doesn't. You guys all regurgitate false information that doesn't make any sense. Okay, great. The Earth's flat. All right, everyone discovered the Earth's flat. Now what? Still going to send another 95 billion every 201 days to Israel? Now what? Yeah, the entire military, there's an armada circling the whole ocean to keep us out of the Antarctica. No, that's not happening either. You can take cruises up there, verify for yourself. You can actually even go up to Antarctica. The whole flat Earth, man, everything they say is false. It's like, how did they all get like in line just regurgitating this false information? Planes don't fly across the Pacific. Oh, it's weird. How's everyone getting to Hawaii? It's weird. I thought you had to fly across the Pacific to get to Hawaii. Planes don't fly across the Pacific. NASA created the ball Earth. When things spin with water, it flies off. Here's my tennis ball demonstration of a tennis ball rotating at 100 rotations per 10 seconds. Oh, good model. Doesn't the Earth rotate one time every 24 hours? No, it's sad, man. It's sad. I hate all the confirmations from the world of what I knew to be true when I was a child, and especially when I was 18 after 9/11 happened, about just people being inept people. All the flat earthers online right now. All science is false. Oh, that's weird. What do you think invented your computer right now? What do you think invented the ability for you to stream right now in real time and say that all science is false? Where did that come from? That's not science? Science didn't develop this technology? That's the flat earth response, that one. Let's cycle back to another typing point. Did you know NASA means deceive in Hebrew? 30 seconds ago, we debunked that. Oh. Did you know water finds its level? You know water always finds its level? Oh my God, man. It's pathetic how dumb people are. It is pathetic. I'm sorry. And then they all get butthurt too. They all get butthurt that they're wrong. That's the whole thing right there. I mean, you see, it doesn't matter if they're a government believer, a religion believer, a flat earth believer, a Donald Trump believer, a sports game believer. They all get so butthurt and can't admit they're wrong, and then they want to kill the messenger. You know. Again, you guys, it's such a dumb argument to say that you're a shill for going against the flat earth. Do you understand that everybody who went against the flat earth missed out on a major profit opportunity? I saw how much money was being made by people who went on the flat earth thing. Never one day did I be like, you know what, I'm going to sell out and do the flat earth too. I'm going to be like retard from Boston and go from no subscribers to 500,000. Spend all my money driving around in my new FJ back and forth. $5 a gallon, 8 miles a gallon, $5 every 8 miles, driving back and forth. And all that guy had to do was just roll down the window and be like, oh, can you guys see the two suns? Is it coming through? Maybe it's not coming through on the camera, but two suns here on the flat earth. I'll be back tomorrow. By the way, my gold bars just got stolen out of the back of my FJ. If you guys wouldn't mind sending some more super chats. And sadly, that's exactly how it was. From no subscribers to 500,000 doing videos just like that. All right, now let's talk about something that some people will equate with. They'll be like, oh, Zach's is crazy too because he thinks weather warfare is a real thing. Yeah, that's because it was admitted to in 1952. The government, the U.S. government, well, first Geneva banned weather warfare in 1977, and then the U.S. government banned weather warfare at the start of the 80s. So, yeah, I do think it must be a real thing. If it literally it's been banned, must be real. And yeah, I do think that what I figured out is accurate for seeing through the weather warfare, since I'm here talking about the same thing literally every day for over a decade and accurately forecasting these weather storms. And I did say there was going to be a major significant event in the time of Scorpio synced with the rock. And I did call out the 2 dates that I expected earthquakes in California, and it synced up with the rock in his San Andreas film. And both of those days, earthquakes did come. And I am happy to see that not as significant of an earthquake came as what I was anticipating. But I think that the Scorpio event that I was anticipating with The Rock, who they have synced up weather warfare and earthquakes with, I think what it ended up being was this thing to close out Scorpio, this bomb cyclone, because it came 201 days after his birthday. And it did impact the whole West Coast, kind of like the San Andreas film. And again, like our military tested for nearly 50 years, they blew up big bombs high up in the atmosphere and beneath the ground next to fault lines. So these things are related. And we predicted there would be a major hurricane season, worse than other ones in recent years, because of The Rock being 52 years old and having a May 2nd birthday, 5'2", because the first act of weather warfare was admitted to in 52. And again, if you're new here, this 52 thing, it's important. Earth, Enlil, flood, devil. I just want you to see all these words. And even Pope, the 52-week calendar year named after the Pope. Again, Enlil is the Babylonian god of flood and storms and destruction. He has parallels to the devil. But can you see how all those words are 52 in the most simple cipher? Earth, Enlil, flood, devil. And just for the record, hurricane, when you take the alphabetic order with numerology, is also 52. Okay. The Rock was a Miami hurricane. But 1952, August 15th, the Jesuit order's birthday, the first admitted act of weather warfare. You can see with the next cipher, the alphabetic order and numerology, all these things are the same. You can see that with the reverse alphabetic order, Earth, Enlil, Flood, and Devil are all 83. Remember, Genesis 8:3 is where the biblical flood ends. Remember how they synced up Milton and what was the what was the hurricane before Milton? I got amnesia too. Was it? God. Both of the storms were 83 rituals, but Milton smashed Florida on the day, leaving 83 days left in the year, perfectly synced with the rock, just like the storm before it. And the first of those hurricanes formed on the day that was the anniversary of JFK giving his weather control speech. We covered all that, not long ago. But you can also see how Earth, Enlil, they got the overlap 29. So anyhow, these numbers show up in weather warfare all the time. And after they burned up Maui last year, synced up with the Rock's Maui character in Moana, as last year's story that we covered in a major way. I said at that time, I said, just wait until the Rock turns 52 on May 2nd, 2024. It's going to be a crazy year of weather warfare. It's going to be a terrible hurricane season. He's a former Miami hurricane. And we've been documenting all the ritualism. We've literally predicted the storms almost right on the nose, the earthquakes right on the nose. I'm glad that there wasn't the horrible earthquake. It could still come, you guys. I'll remind you guys, San Andreas equals 96. We said watch out for the earthquake to come 96 days after the Rock's birthday. Significant earthquake in the Bakersfield area. We pointed out that the first day of Scorpio was 174 days after the Rock's birthday. He was the Scorpion King. We said look out for an earthquake that day. Ended up being a 4.4 magnitude earthquake, which is interesting because earthquake equals 44 like military. That was 44 days after California turned 174 years old. So keep in mind, you guys, California is going to be 174 years old until September 9th of this year. So there wasn't a terrible earthquake in California in the time of Scorpio, which is a good thing. But unfortunately, California will be 174 years old until September 9th. And again, there's plenty of other days that it could come. Again, this is the way these people work. So always don't live in fear, but live with your head on a swivel. If you got valuable things, it's a good year to keep your stuff, deeper back on the shelf, or you got some very precious thing, some urn with your mother's ashes in it or something like that. It could be a good year to put it in a box with some bubble wrap so it doesn't come off the shelf and you lose this, thing that has sentimental value to you. Scorpio has passed without a major earthquake. That is good. But again, they've been singing up weather warfare with this guy, and I think that's why we closed out Scorpio with this. This caused major devastation to parts of Canada, the West Coast. 201 days after the Rock's birthday, the bomb cyclone formed, and all parts of the West Coast was without power. All three states on the West Coast experienced power, just like Public Enemy put out what you gonna do when the grid goes down on the anniversary of JFK's weather control speech. But notice this bomb cyclone formed November 19, 2024, devastated parts of the West Coast on that day. Date was 74 numerology. Again, weapon, nuclear, and energy equals 74. You guys can look up on the U.S. government website, www.energy.gov/management/articles, Fiener and Gosling atmospheric nuclear weapons testing 51 to 63. And this is just for that period of time. It went on for longer than this if you look into it. But this is a 200-page document. You can read about all of the experimentation, the purposes, the ideas. Again, people sit here and act like this is stupid making what I'm talking about when it's a part of history. And Kabbalah is a part of history. And the history of the Cabal and Kabbalah in Europe after the Crusades is a part of history. And you look at all these pieces of history and you say, okay, Templars bringing knowledge back to the church, the Cabal being formed, the Jesuits being formed, Templar cross in the logo, first act of weather warfare, admitted to on the Jesuit order's birthday, the Jesuits and the Jews and Jewish mysticism and Kabbalah and same recurring number patterns. But again, this happened on 74-day numerology, right? So are you out there and can you not prove that a big bomb was detonated high up in the atmosphere like they did for decades? to form this bomb cyclone, which it's called. I mean, and I want to remind you guys about the terminology of bomb cyclone. Bomb cyclone, let's compare it to Ordo Ab Chao, the order out of chaos Latin motto. It's the exact same in 3 out of the 4 ciphers, right? And don't forget that chaos is 19, like this happened on the 19th, and chaos is also 46, like Ordo Ab Chao and bomb cyclone, okay? How all these things fit together so nicely. But coming back to bomb cyclone in 109, remember military is also 109. Ignatius of Loyola became the first superior general of the Jesuits, recognized as a military order on April 19th. That's the 109th day of the year. That's the anniversary of the Revolutionary War beginning. Weather's also 109. Bomb cyclone, military, weather, all connected. Somebody dug up a document from the 1700s about a Jesuit priest theorizing about the future of weather warfare. I mean, these are things they've been thinking about for hundreds of years. It blows me away that they could have even been thinking about that in the 1700s. But I suppose alchemy and all those things were old world practice. So I guess I can understand, somebody probably thought like, yeah, with chemicals and the right mixing of chemicals, you can make things happen. So I suppose how they could have been theorizing about weather warfare in the 1700s. But yeah, here's Seattle, parts of Seattle. If you've never been to Seattle, beautiful city on a sunny day. It's like a city in nature. And that's what I hate about these people, how they just have no regard for life, whether it's natural life, the earth, human beings, animals. I mean, you guys remember when we smashed the Kentucky, well, we smashed the Kentucky so many times over the years, but with Medina Spirit, huge payout on Medina Spirit, massive 201 ritual, run for the roses equals 201, like the Jesuit order. And where's the Kentucky Derby at? It's at Church Hill Downs. But the thing was, Medina Spirit ended up dying that year. Big controversy. It ended up being disqualified. You still got paid if you took it for the bet, but ended up getting disqualified and then ended up dying 201 days into the first Jesuit nation year, along with Biden and Putin meeting to discuss Russia, Ukraine before it popped off. But anyway, I mean, just look at this. Beautiful street in Seattle. Look at all the big trees, these old trees just destroyed like that, just knocked down like that. You can tell that some of these trees have been sawed off, probably because they were growing too much into the street. And that's probably part of the reason some of them fell down, because man's intervention to preserve the street made them weaker. But this is what these people do, Like, I mean, we can make a little more profit out of it. I mean, we don't really need any more money. We already control the world, but hell, I mean, more money could never be a good thing or a bad thing. It's just, but yeah, I mean, just, this is what they do. And then dummies come here and they're like, oh, weather warfare. I mean, like the red thread, wacko job. I was like, I don't know how many times I talked about this exact same pattern with weather warfare and bomb cyclones and the same numbers coming up. And I mean, just the only 19th city in America just happens to get smashed on the 19th. Just happens to come in the time of, keep in mind, November 19th does leave 42 days left in the year, and Washington is the 42nd state. Remember, Jesuits 42 like war. This is an act of weather warfare. But yeah, we were saying, looking for the massive ritual synced up with the rock in the time of Scorpio. I'm glad it wasn't a super quake that really did even more damage. But don't kid yourself. It very well still is on the way while California is 174 years old. San Andreas 174. We did get that earthquake on the first day of Scorpio, 174 days after his birthday, a 4.4, when earthquake and military are 44 and HARP's 44. But yeah, the bomb cyclone, 201 days after the Scorpion King's 52nd birthday on 5/2. Again, weather control, just like the Jesuit order in 3 out of the 4 ciphers. For the record, Scorpion equals 46. And I started thinking about that more. I was like, I think I've been overlooking that the whole time with Joe Biden. He's a Scorpio, number 46, elected 46 weeks after the Pope's birthday. Scorpion is 46 as well. But yeah, how perfect, The day leaving 42 days left in the year, the 42nd state, Washington, gets whacked. Remember, that's the state Brady became 4-2 in Super Bowls against. Got his 21st playoff win when Russell Wilson didn't hand off to Marshawn Lynch. Russell Wilson drops back on February 1st, 2-1 on the down, 2nd and 1. and throws the interception right to number 21 on his 21st pass of the game as Tom Brady wins his 21st playoff game, the 6th triangular number in his 6th Super Bowl, becoming 4-2 over the 42nd state. And then they interview the man who made the interception right after the game, and they said, man, how did you make that play? And he goes, well, we've been practicing that exact play all week. And that should have made anybody go, wait a minute. Why would they be practicing a goal line pass play all week when that was literally the first time in the entire season, regular season and postseason, that the Seahawks threw the ball on the 1-yard line? They didn't do it all year. All year, they just ran him in with the most powerful running back in the NFL, Marshawn Lynch. Just ran him in because you can't stop the guy. His legs are too powerful. He can squat 10,000 pounds or something like that. I forget what it was. He can squat a bus. Could squat Jerome Bettis and then way more. Let's not forget what they did with Jerome Bettis in the Super Bowl in Detroit, his hometown, as he rode off into the sunset after 50 terrible towels were thrown to change the outcome of the game. But again, the same people that run your rigged sports leagues, run your rigged weather, your rigged news. That's why Prince, when he performed Purple Rain at the halftime Super Bowl show, it was the only Super Bowl where it ever rained at halftime. Just so perfect for Prince's Purple Rain. Of course, that was Super Bowl 41, and we just saw the Vikings become 4-1 at home, beating the Colts. Again, the Colts won that Super Bowl over the Bears. Peyton Manning, totally rigged. So, yeah, again, you follow the clues, you start to see how it all comes together. So, Hood SBE said, keep up the good work. The cattle can't see through the mist. Thank you. Thank you, Hood SBE. Appreciate that. Carl Legend Streamer said, hey, Zach, congratulations being a dad. I appreciate that as well. Thank you very much, Carl. Very generous of you. Space Aviator said, Jupiter traversed Capricorn and Aquarius in the sky during the scandemic, reaching its ruling house of Pisces in the year of the Tiger. Tiger is Jupiter. Interesting. Makes me think how Jupiter has that 36 connection, because 666, the 36 triangular number, we all know what they did with the 666s in the time of the scandemic. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate that. Appreciate that you love the work. Thank you very much for the generous two from Atlanta. Digital bills across the nation. Rob McElney, born on 14-4, Jesuit educated. I don't know that name. Rob McElney. How did he come up today? American actor, screenwriter, and producer. He's best known for his role as Mac on the FX comedy series It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I see. That's how it came up, because I brought up how that guy was comparing me to some episode of that. Yeah. Mark Passio. Remember Mark Passio, the former Satanic priest, Jesuit educated, always bragging about his Jesuit education, and now he's picked by Anton LaVey to be a priest in the church. Remember, Anton LaVey died 201 days from his birthday and 201 days from the sitting Pope's birthday. Mark Passio, I think one of those good examples put out there in the world, kind of guy that got to go on Alex Jones and drop the half-truths. And, I mean, you see Mark Passio, you saw that the guy was a total fraud when he went on Alex Jones, because he didn't stand up to anything that he preaches about on his show. He just bowed down for old Alex. Same Alex Jones who lost a CIA buddy 201 days from his birthday. And please, when I say these things and you guys go, what CIA buddy? I covered it at the time. Just do a Google search. Go Alex Jones, former CIA guest, dead. Just look up the story and look at how it broke 201 days from his birthday. I mean, we covered it back then. So many of you guys don't know how to use a simple search, and you spend your time wasting time writing in my question like you're trying to question what I'm saying. Why, instead of asking a question in the comment section, did you not just go out and look up what I said? And if I'm wrong, you can come back to the comment section and say, oh, Zach, that's not true. I looked that up and it was this, this, and this. A lot of you guys, again, just these kind of things show intelligence, right? An intelligent person would go out and research what I'm saying. Like that CT guy he sits there when I'm talking and you can tell he's fact checking, and he'll go, well, everything he's saying is true and right on the money, but I still think there's like Pokemon and bullshit. It's just like, see, that's not real, right? If you keep looking up and seeing everything that I'm saying is true, your next line shouldn't be, well, it's just like, here, I'm going to show you something that just happened with CT. I went on his thing real quick for a minute last night to drop the latest. And the thing is, every time I've gone on there, there's been like a real world example that transpired within hours to prove exactly what I was talking about earlier in the day by like literally the same numerical code. It's almost like the world is trying to show this man that what we're putting down is undeniable because he's just getting like real time examples within hours. And here, right here, I've been talking to him because this man CT is a black man. He's actually the Clayton Bigsby brand of broadcasting. He's a black man. He's a self-loathing black man is what CT is. And I don't know if that's really who he is. It's obvious that something stands behind him. He says he's his own man, but I highly doubt that. The evidence points to that not being the case. But yeah, here's another relatively young black man, just dead at 54. Came up in the entertainment world. His rap name, Saphir, is 54. His birth name, Reggie Gibson, is 72. By the way, Reggie alone's 42, like he died on the day, leaving 42 days left in the year. And, of course, Jesuit order, 54 and 72. We've been talking about this number pattern in 1,000 different ways. Keep in mind, this guy's in Menace to Society. And in Menace to Society, one of the main characters is wearing the Georgetown Hoyas sweatshirt. And, of course, Georgetown, established by 54-year-old John Carroll, is the first Jesuit university. Did you guys know that at the peak of Jesuit universities in the U.S., at one point there were 54 Jesuit universities operating in the U.S., and now it's down to 27. But, yeah, look that up. At its peak, there were 54 Jesuit universities in the U.S. And, again, John Carroll equals 54, who established the first Jesuit university at age 54 back in 1789. And again, the Jesuit headquarters is at the Church of the Gesù, Building 54 in Italy. And Diddy, his birthday is the same day that They Live came out, where Cable 54 is the enemy of the world. And that movie came out 201 days after Roddy Piper's birthday. But remember, the word sun equals 54. S-U-N. Like the Jesuit order, their logo is the sun. The Catholic Church began as sun worshipers. When you run an inverse, Jesuit order 72, like the sun moves 1 degree on the astrological wheel every 72 years. Diddy, his father was murdered in 72. He goes down at 54. He worked for Frank Lucas 106 like Cassie. Diddy arrested on the day, leaving 106 days left the year. Taken down by the same Jesuit prosecutor that took down R. Kelly at 54. R. Kelly sentenced to prison on the very special Jesuit date, September 27th, the same day in history that Johnny Cochran, Jesuit-educated O.J. Simpson lawyer, said if the glove doesn't fit, you must acquit. That was on that September 27th day as well. Here's the character wearing the Georgetown sweatshirt in Menace to Society, which this man was in. Seen a lot of young black men in showbiz die at 54. This is not new. From his birthday to his death was 88 days later. Boxcar Sessions equals 88. That's his best-selling album. Menace to Society, the movie he's in, 88. Rapper, 88. The Jesuits, known for killing people with poison, 88. Arsenic poisoning, 88. CT keeps dismissing the death of Bill Russell right after the Warriors and Celtics finals by the numbers because he was 88 years old. Again, Bill Russell died on the last day of the Jesuit Ignatian year, the anniversary of Ignatius Loyola's death. He went to the Jesuit University of San Francisco, played for the Celtics, dies right after the Warriors beat the Celtics, as we predicted early in that season, that would be the finals and outcome. Warriors beat the Celtics in Boston on the Pope's birthday, and Pope Francis equals 175 like Golden State. That year they dropped Boston to 17-5 in the finals. Remember how it was all synced up with Joe Biden as well, whose Secret Service name is Celtic. When John Havlicek, the Celtic, died the day that Joe Biden announced he was running for president, John Havlicek, number 17, dies 17 days after his birthday. Joe Biden, born 17 years after RFK. The Celtics' birthday is the anniversary of RFK dying. See, I can't imagine being the person who listens to something like that and thinks out for a second and goes, yeah, that's all got to be bullshit. That just sounds like it could all be a coincidence. It's like, you can't be serious. You can't be serious, especially when you're losing every argument and you're even admitting to losing the arguments, as CT's done in every little debate he's had with me. I mean, he even conceded he lost his point on NASA. He's like, yeah, I guess I really can't point to anything that NASA's worthy of saying that they've done, even though I justified that I do think they're worth spending $68 million a day on. I asked him, I said, you wouldn't rather see $68 million spent on helping out communities that have been suffering for decades in the U.S.? He said, no, I'm way past all that. I don't want to help out anybody. But he'll send $68 million off to a military program that I don't know, just seemingly does nothing with our money. GPS, again, that real reason for that GPS is so they can drop a drone strike on your head. It's the real reason for that GPS. And don't kid yourself, that probably will be the country in the future where a broadcast like this cuts the fuzz because President whatever in the future declared the war on conspiracy theorists, and all the brain dead populace went, I've always hated conspiracy theorists. Why did they wait until 2088 to declare the war on conspiracy theorists? And if we were still alive, then I'd be like, well, shit, man, did you ever see Mel Gibson's conspiracy theory that came out 18 days after his birthday on 8/8? Because I did. That's why they waited to do the drone strikes on yours truly in 2088. But don't kid yourself, you guys. I'm halfway joking, but I'm also halfway serious. Yeah, 88 days after his birthday, he just drops dead for unknown reasons. Poison and arsenic poisoning 88. Again, the Jesuits known for killing people with arsenic. Exhibit announced the death. Exhibit equals 72, just like Reggie Gibson, Jesuit order against 72. He died 62 days after Exhibit's birthday. It's funny. Didn't I recently make a remark like a month or two back about, man, it's funny. I know that I made this remark. I'd have to go back and figure out where I said it, but I was saying, man, we haven't seen Exhibit in a while. And I was saying, I wonder if like they came to Exhibit and say, you got to give up your mother or something, because he just disappeared from the scene. I mean, Exhibit was everywhere. Popular rapper, features on everyone's album, hit show on MTV, Pimp My Ride, and then all of a sudden just gone. And I'm like, I made that point sometime back because I was saying, like, did they come to him with, it's time to pay in blood? And he said, I've had enough. But maybe that did happen. Because like I said, I mean, these guys are paying in blood seemingly until their life becomes the cost. But yeah, you can tell this is absolutely connected to him. Saphir, Exhibit, and Rascas were in a group called the Golden State Warriors, right? He died 54 days after Rascas's birthday at age 54. Again, going with his rap name. And then Golden State Warriors, right? The name of the group should obviously remind you of the basketball team that's off to a hot start this year. And look at this. Steph Curry. He died on the 251st day of Steph Curry's age. Ritual sacrifice is 251, but that's the 54th prime number. Remember, Steph Curry used to be on a $201 million contract operating in the Bay, arguably the most Jesuit city in America outside of D.C. I don't even think there's debate. D.C. and then San Francisco, and then probably Seattle. Those are probably the three most Jesuit cities in America. St. Louis, probably right there. Those are probably the top four. Oh, shit, I didn't mention New York. Easily those are the top five. But Steph Curry, 54 forwards and backwards. And remember, 54 has been a big number with Warriors rituals. They set that record. They ended against Boston in tribute to Bill Russell, the 54 straight regular season home wins. Back then they played in Oracle. I noticed at the time of this death, the Warriors' record was 10-3. I remember when they won on the Pope's birthday, they became 10-3 away. This was the season where they ended up beating Boston in the NBA Finals. They became 10-3 away in that game. Remember, Jesuits is 103. And then when they closed out the finals that year, they won with 103 points on the Ultimate Warrior's birthday. And maybe I'm tripping or maybe not. Is Ultimate Warrior also 103? It is. Ultimate Warriors 103 and 202 like San Francisco, but of course Jesuits is 103. It's part of why Osama's birthday was 10-3 and the whole Pan Am 103 PSYOP. But again, it's just par for the course. And by the way, when the Warriors won with 111 on the Pope's birthday, Jorge Mario Bergoglio got the 111. The NBA Finals got the 111. Sumerian gematria is just where you multiply the alphabetic order times 6. The NBA Finals 666, like how Bill Russell died 666 days before Bill Walton's birthday. And remember, Bill Walton died at 71, the same day the Celtics advanced to the finals. And we told you before last year even began that the Celtics would win the finals because they're the only team whose full name in the league equals 78. It was the 78th season. And the finals began on their birthday, which is also the anniversary of Kennedy dying. And the whole finals was in tribute to JFK. Again, JFK, the mayor of Boston, who died in Dallas, which was last year's finals. The only game Dallas won was on Trump's 78th birthday, synced up with their 78-year-old owner. Aiden Shelton. Oh, God. Why can't I not think of the damn guy's name right now? Aiden. The Jewish man who died, who bankrolled Trump's first campaign. Aiden Sheldonstein. I can't get his name right now, but his wife owns the team now, and they own, again, casino owners took over the basketball team, and then they go to the finals. We covered all the mega rituals. If you guys forgot, Dallas Mavericks 150-51. Sheldon Adelstein, that's his name. She took over the team, his wife, 150 weeks after he died and 51 days after her birthday. And the Mavericks' birthday is May 1st, their own birthday, which is also the Illuminati's birthday, founded by Adam Weishaupt, which is another 51. And the order was focused in conspiracy, another 51, like Area 51's, the conspiracy-related area. Area 51, where the federal conspiracies are connected to, right? The rumor mill. And these things aren't by accident. Federal 51, like Rome, like DC used to be Rome on the Potomac. But that's how it is, the world of entertainment. I mean, you got to be a hardcore coincidence theorist to look at all this. And see, I was on the show last night. I brought up all these things, and I asked him point by point. I said, so you think that's a coincidence? His name's Saphir equals 54, and he's just dead at 54 at a young age. Like, yeah, I think that's a coincidence. And then I said, okay, and he died 54 days after the member of the Golden State Warriors, the rap group, Razzcast's birthday. Like, And I said, and then you think about the basketball team, and I asked him, I said, do you remember when the Warriors hit the home winning streak at 54? Because this guy's a basketball fan. He's like, yeah, I do remember that. I said, okay. He also died on the 251st day of Steph Curry's age, which is the 54th prime, and Steph Curry equals 54. Like, yeah, he goes, he goes, yeah, I think you're just trying to look and put things together. It's like, really? I'm trying to look and put things together. Aren't these logical things that the guy from his rap group? And then I also pointed out, I said, it was also the day leaving 42 days left in the year. And I just got done telling you 3 days ago how if you learn this code, you'll see how they kill black men by a code. And what he said back to me, he goes, well, I bet you a rapper died 3 days earlier, and it wasn't the day leaving 42 days left in the year. I said, did you see any headlines about a dead rapper 3 days earlier? And he thought about it. He goes, I didn't. I said, did you see the headline about Saphir? He goes, I did. I said, well, that's my point. So I don't know why you're trying to make these arguments. And then he just kind of stopped talking. But see, again, I don't think that this CT guy does think this is bullshit. I think that's what he has to say. I appreciate that he's having these conversations. What's disappointing to me, though, is everyone who's gone to his panel to debate Gematria has been like all of the worst. Actually, hold on. I'm going to retract that because I haven't seen all of his streams, and I did see some people on there that I never knew existed that did a great job. Jay with Open Eyes did a great job. There was a gentleman, who, I want to say his name started with a K. Sorry, I forgot. I'd never seen you before, so I forgot your name. I didn't even know you were out there, but you went on, did a great job. I haven't seen everybody, but a lot of the worst suspects, like Simple Troll, went on there and kept referring to this as his community and making illogical arguments and then not being able to answer simple questions, which made him look kind of dumb. Like Simple Troll was asked, he's like, okay, so what is the point of doing these rituals by the numbers? And he's like, I don't know. It's like, how can you, dude, you've been here cloning my work for all these years and you don't know how to answer a question like that? You don't know how to answer why they do this? They already asked me that and I already gave the answer. But they want to ask the other people. And again, that's the Simple Troll going on there saying this is his community. He's the best decoder. And then not being able to answer simple questions just, again, makes the work look dumb. And that's all he's really ever done. You know, the autistic kid from Florida going on there and instead of focusing on the work, starts talking about how he's sleeping with a woman connected to another troll in the community, just makes it look weird. What I'm trying to say is if you guys care about this work and you're paying attention to those panels and you have, if you can go on there and make it, I'd like to see better people go on there and debate with these guys and realize the people that go on his panel are like paid for trolls. It seems like they get on there and they all try to be the best Clayton Bigsby and talk about racially divisive stuff. But there's people in that audience who are watching, who are getting it and learning and realize it's undeniable. And that's why you go there anyway. That's why you go there and lay down the points anyway. And again, we need more people speaking out and presenting. All the people in this community that I wish would just go away, who I felt like have been a pack of like purposeful flying gnats to just hang around here and distract everybody and annoy everybody. They're the ones going on there. And that's disappointing, but not surprising either. So yeah, shame on Simple Troll for going on and not being able to answer simple questions and saying things like, I'm the best decoder in the world and it's my community. No, you're the guy who came in here in the middle of it, who came in through asking about your police-connected family and a death of one of the police officers in your family, and has just been a total clone and troll and detriment. But yeah, just what a loser thing to say too. It's my community. I mean, are you serious, dude? Like, how delusional are you? God. It certainly isn't your community, and the fact that you can't answer basic questions after cloning my work for all these years just shows that you never paid enough attention. Yeah, you got the concept of typing numbers into the calculator, making matches, you got that down, but you don't really have anything behind it. And like I see, that's how we started getting butthurt in the first place, is I'd point out to him, I'd say, you got to work on like your understanding and your ability to explain things, because you say a lot of things that kind of discredit the work while you speak. And he was also one of the guys that was targeting Rambo out of jealousy years ago, making fun of Rambo's work. And what's hilarious now is now going there and be like, he ran Rambo out of the community. First of all, I never ran Rambo out of anywhere. And you're the guy who used to always make fun of him because you said astrology was for girls. But that's again, I don't want to talk about these trolls. It's just, if you understand the work and you can go on the panel like some of these people who come out of the woodwork who've been good, go on CT's show, because he's putting up Gematria shows all the time now, and go on there and make a good argument. And don't get rattled by this group of trolls, because they're going to try to provoke you and talk nonsense. Just keep dropping the facts and watch how they have no response other than to say dumb things. Like Jay with Open Eyes went on there and gave a real simple explanation of 9/11 by the numbers and all the 11s. And Jay, when that guy said, so Jay laid out the George Herbert Walker Bush speech 11 years to the day of 9/11, and one of the guys got on there and he's like, well, I mean, there's only so many spaces on a keyboard, so things like that are going to happen. That was his retaliatory remark to Jay dropping this long explanation of 11s and the odds of that speech about a new world order in light of the World Trade Center and terrorism. He said a world freer of terror, the major act of terrorism 11 years to the day while his son's the president. A guy gets on there and goes, well, there's only so many paces on the keyboard, so things will just tend to line up. So here's what I would have said if I was Jay. I'd be like, okay, so remind me, there's 88 spaces on a keyboard, right? Is that true? 88 spaces? Okay, 88. So if we're just talking about like the odds of landing your finger on the keyboard the same space twice, it'd be 1 in 88, which is within the realm of probability. That's greater than a 1% chance. But we're talking about 11 years to the day. What's 11 times 365? We're talking about 4,000 days. You want to come on and you think you can just announce that with a simple argument that it could, or his argument might be, okay, just within one calendar year, just end up on September 11th with all the 11s by chance. Okay, what is 1 in 365 odds? That's like a quarter of a percentage point of a chance. You got to put it back on the show when they say things like that. You would say, okay, here, you're saying that it's very easy to explain how that could happen because there's only so many spaces on the keyboard. If I can give you a quarter of a percent odds to jump off the bungee jump, 1/4% odds to survive it, are you going to take those odds? And of course, if he's going to say yeah, then you know he's an idiot. But he's going to say no. And you say, oh, so you realize it's improbable. You realize it's improbable, and that's why you wouldn't do that. Okay, so let's not argue that things that are improbable are just easily explained. Because you will see that these trolls are always trying to do that. I did see Simple Troll get on there and get flustered and get off. Simple Troll, in that moment where that dweeb, and he is a dweeb, got on there, because Simple Troll made the point about the Steelers-Ravens game. Our community did well at that game. Harbaugh picked up his 103rd and 113th loss versus the Steelers, which equals 103 and 113. But then the guy came back and he's like, oh, see, you're taking these infinite data sets and just making things line up. It's like, dude, it's not an infinite data set. There's only 32 teams in the NFL and only one equals 103 and 113. That's what you just need to come back and lay down. Not let him knock you off the point and then just quit the stream. I understand that these people are frustrating, but just stop what he's saying. He said it's an infinite data set to explain how Harbaugh picked up his 103rd regular season loss and 113th all time. That's not an infinite data set. No. That's a limited data set, and there's only one team in the whole league that equals 103 and 113, and it's the Steelers, who he picked up those losses against. And then he came back, that dweeb, and arguing with someone, then he came back, he's like, dude, it's just like there's a billion flakes that come down on the snowfield, and if you look hard enough, you can find two that look the same. These are dumb arguments. No, we're calling this stuff consistently before it happens and patting people's pockets. That's proof that the system works. How about the same stuff week after week? And disingenuous arguments aren't debunks. Yeah, when that same dweeb tried to argue with me, he got off the stream and got tired out. When the fraud phony gets on there, he gets worn out by this guy and doesn't have the right statements to come back with. So, again, don't go on and try to present this information as yours when you can't answer simple questions. And by doing that, you make everybody look worse. Tries to go on and undermine my name and then take credit for things he's never done and then can't answer simple questions. Problematic. That's why we need better people to go on there and debate. That's the one place in the world where there's an open debate about this. And I've been trying to find an open debate about this subject because when we debate, if we know how to debate, we're going to win every time. And CT knows I'm winning every argument on there. All he can come back with at the end is go, I still think it's bullshit. Last night I called him, I said, why do you keep comparing it to Pokemon when that's not our generation? Him and I just both happen to be 41 years old. He's like, that's true. Yeah, Pokemon's our generation. So I say, why do you keep comparing it to that? It's like, I don't know. Because you're just talking shit. You're not saying anything. Thank you, Gematria Sense. I'm going to look more into that guy. I appreciate that. Chaotic Truth and his Jewish troll, right? Yeah, Moxie, she's the Jewish one. You can tell just by her voice. Yeah, is it a coincidence or is that evidence? Chaotic Truth with that 56 code. You find that one all over the Black Lives Matter agency. Now, technically, he's the opposite of Black Lives Matter. He's literally Black Lives Don't Matter. He's literally Clayton Bigsby. He is a self-loathing black man, which is a very interesting thing to be. That is interesting. I'll give him the benefit of the doubt and say it's a coincidence. Yeah, I'll tell you what's not a coincidence, though, is Tone Talks. Tone Talks, Jesuit educated. Again, I didn't even realize Tone Talks was Jesuit educated, but he was going on about Diddy, and I went on his show, and I did the phone call about Diddy and the ritual with R. Kelly, and both of them being 54, and laid it down. And eventually, he got me off, and because he said that's not what he wanted to talk about. He wanted to talk about how Diddy's a detriment to black people. And I was just trying to make the point about how he's being systematically shamed by a code that's redundant. Now here we are with Saphir. But again, Tone Talks took down that live stream, clipped out my phone call about 54 and the Jesuits. And I didn't say anything about him. I didn't realize that Tone Talks equaled 54. I didn't know he was a Jesuit educated lawyer. But he took down that whole live stream, clipped out my phone call, and then re-uploaded it as a video. The entire stream is still there except for my phone call. And to me, that shows that somebody got in his ear and said, that needs to come down. That needs to come down. And again, you got guys like Chaotic Truth who look like they're on puppet strings. You got Tone Talks, who I know is on these Jesuit puppet strings. There was no reason to remove that phone call. But lo and behold, he's even got it coded into his damn name. Jaden said, I remember in 6th grade around 2014, everyone was making jokes about adding random numbers and conspiracy theories. Was that because, well, I don't know when you were in 6th grade, Jaden. I mean, I've been here since 2013 putting this information out. So if you were in 6th grade in that time period, maybe it was. I don't know. I never heard about anything like this until I looked into it and found the magic word Gematria in Manly P. Hall's book, The Secret Teachings of All Ages. Amy says, Illinois Supreme Court reverses Jussie Smollett's conviction. He is 42. Yeah, the whole Jussie Smollett thing was a big 42 ritual. 153 days after his birthday. I mean, come on, you guys. Jesuit order, 153. The Illuminati, founded by a Jesuit, 153. Jesuit alone, 42. I mean, come on. Those numbers were all over Jussie's. And remember, Jussie Smollett was this weird thing. Like, I didn't understand why everyone was so fixated on this story. I really did not understand it at all. I remember being in the gym and people were just like watching the TV like this. Like literally under a trance. And it's like, this story's not even interesting. God, get back to your workout, man. Are you at the gym to watch the Jussie Smollett story or work out? Yeah, the whole Jussie Smollett thing, total joke. Yeah, I'd have to go back and look at all of it. But yeah, good one, Amy. Thank you. 13 Serpents chipped in a big five. Thank you, 13 Serpents. As always, Paula the Kitchen Witch. Chernobyl means black bush, since nice name for a town. Yeah, truly. Another one of these weird rituals went down there. Space Invader said, "Are you aware of the 52-year Mayan cycle?" Mm, I don't think I knew about that one. Called the calendar round. I'm just sure Jesuit implemented this after their conquest. That could be. Or again, they gained the numerical significance from things they learned along the way. So they took in knowledge. So I mean, that could even be part of the reason that they've adopted the significance of this number 52 and assigned it to the Pope in the calendar. But no, I didn't know about that. So thank you. Very good. Ava Moon, congratulations on your baby. Were you registered anywhere? Maybe some of your fans would like to send a baby gift. Well, we don't really need anything, and people have been sending gifts since I first. I mean, I didn't even tell you guys I was having a baby. The first hint, and people picked up on it. I said, in about 9 months, my life's going to change, and I guess that was a pretty big clue when I said that. But I instantly just started getting baby gifts in my PO box. And like I said, one woman somehow knew it was going to be a little girl from day one because she kept sending little gifts for a little girl shoes, little girl clothes. And I just thought, and we didn't even know it was a girl. I was just like, okay, I hope it ends up being a girl. Otherwise, I don't know what to do with all these clothes. But yeah, my PO box, it's always there. Almost nobody sends anything. You know, you guys, it's amazing how many people say they would support the work if I had a PO box. They'd send a donation if I had a PO box. I've had the PO box up now for over a year. The newest PO box. There's been one financial donation in the mail. Mostly the only people who send things to my PO box are trolls, which is unfortunate, and people who want to write out long decodes that they want me to look out that they wrote down on paper. And I appreciate that, but again, there's already not enough hours in the day, and yeah. So if you guys want to send something in the mail to help out, you got an idea, you want a little girl to have something from you, PO box is in the description of every video. It's amazing how people never open up the description of a video. It's where almost everybody on YouTube puts the information for ways to contact them, support them, and seemingly somehow, some way, almost nobody who watches videos ever opens up the description. But again, little girl doesn't need anything. Hey, the thought that counts. If you want to send something, you're more than welcome to. But she's good to go. People in the community have already sent a lot for a little girl, and sweet lady had a surprise baby shower at her work, and she got blessed. And our neighbor across the street brought over a whole bunch of their stuff for their infant that they don't need anymore. So, I mean, we're pretty much good to go. So thank you, though. It's the thought that counts. Thank you very much, Ava Moon. I appreciate it. But probably better to save your money in this time of you'll own nothing and be happy, and we're getting priced out of everything right now. So thank you, Ava Moon. But yeah, if anybody wants to send anything anyway, again, PO box link is in the description. Thank you very much. Dante Reed said, "Fact, Zach. Everyone else who went on CT Live embarrassed the work." Well, I did see a guy on there I'd never seen before who did a great job, and he said it was his first time and he was nervous being on screen. And Jay with Open Eyes did a good job. Until maybe they started trolling him, but his explanation of 9/11 and the 11s was great. Elohim did a good job until he got to the Kobe Miles Garrett, but you saw how once they did that, then they targeted that and they blamed me for that. And then what's funny is they blamed me for that even after I got on there and said, listen, I never taught anybody that. That didn't come from me, but then they blame me for that anyway. That's why if you give that's for all you guys in the flat earth community who don't get it. Again, you don't get it because you haven't been at the game long enough. When Flat Earth Science came around in 2015, your guy right here, truly, the guy on the screen talking to you right now, had been trying to wake people up to these agendas since 9/11 and 2001. I've been speaking out all over the place since then. You give people any ammo at all to discount your credibility or your logical thinking processes, they're going to just run with that and dismiss everything you say. And that's what every flat earther does to all the things that they're right about. Because there are a lot of flat earthers that are right about other things, But once they get wind of that flat Earth, ooh boy, you just again the people who are under a spell and zombie like and can't see through any of the lies, a lot of them still do have brain cells that work in their brain, and those brain cells do realize how easy it is to debunk the flat Earth because it's not flat. How come you don't ever see like the perfect square flat Earth map that you guys a lot think it is? How come you don't ever see that shadow up on the moon? Like a Tony's Pizza or whatever that brand is that sells the square ones. Elohim though is getting good. You know, he used to drive me nuts in the sports decoding, and he's getting really good with the sports decodes too. So Elohim's a young guy, and the Myles Garrett was a mistake, but he did all right outside of that. Jay Crew said, "Congratulations, God bless you and your family. I appreciate that." And again, we got blessed. We got blessed with a. By the way, this was sent to me. This is from a Nas music video in 2004. Is that a coincidence? Nas with the little kid with a red laser beam pointed at the screen, like almost like a gun sight with a Newtown shirt on. It's like, oh, that was it's interesting. Out of all the T-shirts he could have had on, Newtown. Look at that little sweetie. Oh yeah, but oh yeah. This one, I'll forever remember this one. After the first bath. So yeah, I got to get back to work and helping out Sweet Lady with the baby. Hey, she slept through the whole night last night. We are feeling blessed about that. I hope that's a trend that continues. We were definitely on a sleep deficit until last night. All right, so yeah, that's it for now, Truth Seeker. We're gonna leave it there. And for all you sportsaholics, we'll be streaming at 3 Pacific, 6 Eastern. I have a dentist appointment today. I might be a few minutes late, but I think I'll be there on time. So we'll leave it there for now. Have a good rest of your day, Truth Seeker. Until next time.